In my last video, I counted down my favorite coasters that I have personally ridden from 100 down to 51. In this video, I will finish up with my top 50. Once again, these are based on my own personal preferences and experiences with the rides, which will vary greatly from person to person. I have currently ridden 708 different roller coasters, all in the United States and Canada's Wonderland, but I have not visited these notable US parks. Here is my list of manufacturers that make up my top 50, plus my top 100. And the parentheses are because clones will only take up one spot on my list. No surprise that RMC and Intamin will dominate my top 50. Wood coasters are well represented here, above my overall percentage, and even stronger in the top 100. Here are the states that are represented, with the top 100 numbers being the best indicator for what states have the best coasters. And the Legacy Six Flags parks are ahead in the top 50, while Cedar Fair leads the top 100. But let's get into it with number 50, which is New Texas Giant, the RMC hybrid at Six Flags Over Texas. The original RMC has a few great airtime moments and is a very long ride, but my more recent rides haven't been as strong. 49 is Lightning Run, the Chance Hyper GTX at Kentucky Kingdom, a small-scale coaster with rapid-fire elements and very strong airtime. 48 is Thunderhead, the GCI Woody at Dollywood that seems to keep getting better and better. It has great airtime, rapid-fire elements, and is a great night ride. 47 is Twisted Cyclone, the RMC hybrid at Six Flags Over Georgia. It is a short ride, but the elements all deliver with incredible airtime, inversions, and great variety. 46 is Joker, the RMC hybrid at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. A longer ride with great airtime, inversions, and a very interesting layout. 45 is Poltergeist, the premier launch coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. So much better than the indoor versions, with a stronger launch, intensity, no mid-course, and being able to see the head choppers. The theming adds a lot as well. 44 is Montu, the B&M invert at Busch Gardens Tampa. By far my favorite invert, with a smooth ride, great layout, intensity, and the use of trenches. 43 is Kumba, also at Busch Gardens Tampa, one of the most intense B&Ms ever made, which may be too much for some people, but I love it. 42 is the Mr. Freeze clones at Six Flags Over Texas and St. Louis. Very intense, great launches, which you can experience both forwards and backwards in Texas. A forceful top hat, and the spike offering maybe the most sustained airtime moment on the planet. 41 is Copperhead Strike, the mock multi-launch at Carowinds. The launches are weak, but the layout has great variety with rapid-fire elements, floater and ejector airtime, plus incredible hang time. 40 is Matugani, the Intamin launch coaster at Lost Island in Iowa. The hydraulic launch is deceptively powerful, followed by a short but complete layout with great ejector airtime, hang time, and rapid-fire elements. 39 is Zippin' Pippin, the Gravity Group Woody at Bay Beach in Green Bay. Every hill delivers good airtime, then that ejector death hill gives the most violent and abrupt airtime moment if you ride in row 3. In that row, that is my favorite element on any roller coaster, but the whole ride is great, and it has a nice setting on the bay. 38 is Manta, the B&M Flyer at SeaWorld Orlando, with a great layout, flying over pathways and past waterfalls, and it may have the best queue of any coaster. This has been a long-time sentimental favorite of mine. 37 is Time Traveler, the Mach Extreme Spinner at Silver Dollar City. It has an incredible drop in the back row, and every ride is different because of the spinning. It is so much fun and so re-rideable. 36 is the defunct Top Thrill Dragster, the Intamin Strata coaster formerly at Cedar Point. The hydraulic launch was insane, the speed was unbelievable, and the top hat gave such a great view. I hope to one day experience the new renovated version of this. 35 is the defunct King Ka, which was an even better Intamin Strata coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure. An even stronger and faster launch, crazier speed, a more surreal feeling, climbing up over 450 feet, which was the tallest coaster in the world, and ending with a speed hill. Coaster enthusiasts didn't properly appreciate this until they heard it was going away. I am happy to say that I fully appreciated it from my very first ride all the way up to my last 2 rides last year. 34 is Hades 360, the Gravity Group Woody at Mount Olympus. My only visit in 2019 was almost too rough for me, and I heard it's gotten far worse, which is why I haven't gone back. This would be my second favorite Woody in the country if it had ridden smoother for me, but it has a brilliant layout with great airtime, maybe the best pre-lift section in the world, and that incredible underground tunnel, plus an inversion on the other end of the parking lot before going back through the tunnel. 33 is Mako at SeaWorld Orlando, my favorite B&M Hyper. The airtime is better than all the others, it's one of the smoothest B&Ms ever made, and the fast operations keep the line short. 32 is Steel Curtain, the S&S at Kennywood with a US record 9 inversions. It was sad to see it closed all year, but my 2022 experience was one of the best I've had on any coaster. The line was short all day, it was maybe the smoothest coaster I've ever ridden. It was intense, had decent airtime, hang time, perfect transitions, and great variety. Maybe the most complete coaster in the country. 31 is Thunderbird, the B&M launched wing coaster at Holiday World. The launch is powerful, and I'm a huge fan of wing coasters. This has some intense moments and has a great setting, but a couple of the elements are a dud, which keeps it from getting higher on my list. 30 is Phantom's Revenge, the Morgan Hyper at Kennywood. It is perfectly smooth, even with the incredible speed, great use of the river valley, and strong airtime at the end, although it didn't seem as strong last year as it was before, which caused it to slip down my list just a little. Number 29 is Goliath, the RMC Woody at Six Flags Great America. Finally getting back to the park last year, I realized that I have not overrated this. It is a little short, but the elements are all outstanding, featuring 2 of the best inversions in the world, great speed, intensity, and a few strong airtime moments. 28 is Ravine Flyer 2, the Gravity Group Woody at Waldameer in Pennsylvania. I dropped this a year ago, but my rides last year had me move it back up. One of the best views from the top of the lift hill of any coaster, strong airtime throughout, and a great use of the terrain, and it wasn't too rough last year. 27 is Boardwalk Bullet, the Gravity Group Woody at Kemah Boardwalk in Texas. A long ride that is crammed into a tiny footprint, using its own structure better than any other coaster, right up against the water, and delivering great airtime throughout. 26 is the Superman Ride of Steel clones at Six Flags America in Darien Lake. These Intamin Hypers have simple layouts, but the elements are all executed so well, with great speed that the straight track actually highlights, and it has some of the strongest airtime of any coaster if you ride toward the front. Maryland's version does seem to be much smoother and has the better setting going off into the woods. 25 is Gatekeeper, the B&M wing coaster at Cedar Point, a 10-year sentimental favorite of mine that has always delivered. I love the wing coasters, and this one feels so much different from the others. It is perfectly smooth, with a beautiful beachside setting, some intense moments, and great near misses. 24 is Monster, the Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster at Adventureland in Iowa. It offers the best hang time of any coaster I've ridden, great airtime, all with just a lap bar, perfectly smooth, and it has an interesting layout with great variety. 23 is Storm Runner, the Intamin launch coaster at Hershey Park. I gained a deeper appreciation for this after last year's rides. The hydraulic launch is so powerful, and a complete layout follows, with strong airtime, hang time, and inversions. 22 is Wildcat's Revenge, the RMC hybrid, also at Hershey Park. My favorite at the park by a narrow margin. I think this has been overrated by other enthusiasts, but even a mid-tier RMC is an elite ride. It has great airtime, good inversions, an interesting layout, and when operations are super fast, you may actually get some dueling, which wasn't taking place anymore on the park's racing coaster. 21 is Prowler, the GCI Woody at Worlds of Fun. An interesting layout as a twisting out and back, a wooded setting, great use of terrain, an amazing night ride, perfect pacing with rapid fire elements, and the best airtime of any GCI in the country. If anything, I'm underrating this ride. 20 is Maverick, the Intamin Blitz coaster at Cedar Point. It has a couple great airtime moments, rapid fire turns, and an overrated but still great layout with plenty of variety. But it seems to almost always be broke down. 19 is Voyage, the Gravity Group Woody at Holiday World. I do think this is a little overrated as it does ride quite rough and it always has a very long line, but I still love it. The airtime isn't very strong, but there is so much of it as it's a very long ride, and it's one of the better night rides in the country. All of my best rides on this have been on nights that were not during Hollywood Nights, so I don't think you need that event to experience this ride at its best. 18 is Outlaw Run, the RMC Woody at Silver Dollar City. It also can be a little rough, but the non-wheel seats are no problem, and the airtime is far stronger than Voyage, and the night ride is just as good. It has the most complete layout of any Woody in the country, with inversions, hang time, ejector sideways, and off-axis airtime. 17 is Twisted Colossus, the RMC hybrid at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Dueling rides are incredible, but it's great even when it doesn't, as it has very strong ejector airtime, variety, inversions, and you get to ride both sides without getting off. 16 is Lightning Rod, the RMC hybrid at Dollywood. I thought I would drop this a lot further with the new chain lift, as the launch did add a lot to the ride. But the rest of the ride is as great as ever, with strong ejector and sideways airtime, and the use of the mountain creates for maybe my favorite night ride of any coaster. 15 is Fury 325, the B&M Giga at Carowinds. A very overrated coaster in our community, but it is still great. It can sometimes ride smooth with airtime on the turns in the first half. It maintains that speed so well and has great airtime in the second half. 14 is Millennium Force, the Intamin Giga at Cedar Point. This maintains that speed better than any coaster in the world, has a great lakeside setting, and has some solid airtime and intense moments. This makes me feel something on a level far deeper than Fury can offer. 13 is Pantheon, the Intamin multi-launch coaster at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Hang time in the first inversion, great airtime throughout the swing launch sequence, and more airtime in the rest of the layout, along with the incredible speed and perfectly smooth ride. I think I might be underrating this one. 12 is Wicked Cyclone, the RMC hybrid at Six Flags New England. A long ride with so much variety, with ejector and off-axis airtime, inversions, hang time, and it even made me gray out on the first turn. My return to the park last year confirmed just how amazing and underrated this ride is. 11 is Intimidator 305, the Intamin Giga at King's Dominion, and I'm still calling it by the only name that I've ridden it as. One of the most intense coasters in the world, causing many people to gray out on the first turn. It has great airtime in each of the incredible high-speed turns, and with the ejector hills, this has more airtime than any Giga in North America. Number 10 is Velocicoaster, the Intamin multi-launch coaster at Universal's Islands of Adventure. The theming and great layout will make this many people's favorite coaster of all, but the slower first half through the Raptor paddock is slower with weaker elements, but the second half has stronger, larger elements with higher speed. Taking out the theming, this is basically Cheetah Hunt, but the theming elevates it into my top 10. Number 9 is Storm Chaser, the RMC at Kentucky Kingdom. Some of the strongest ejector and off-axis airtime of any coaster in the country. It may not be a long ride, but it is very aggressive, and I love the interesting and quirky layout, and it rarely gets much of a line. Number 8 is Superman the Ride, the Intamin Hyper at Six Flags New England. My return to the park last year had me falling in love with this even more. A beautiful riverside setting, incredible speed, strong ejector airtime which hits best in the front, a brilliant spaghetti bowl section featuring great variety. It's perfectly smooth, and it has awesome lap bar restraints, which some people don't like, but they are among my favorite lap bars of any coaster, as I found them very comfortable and allowing for great airtime. Number 7 is El Toro, the Intamin Woody at Six Flags Great Adventure, my new favorite Intamin. I have always loved this, but my rides last year took it to a whole new level, and I now fully understand the hype it once had. Any roughness it had has always been tolerable and doesn't give me any headache, which I cannot say for Voyage or Outlaw Run. El Toro also has the most amazing airtime of any Woody, made even better by those awesome lap bars, and even the weaker airtime moments are still great, and the twister section is very intense. Number 6 is Steel Vengeance, the RMC hybrid at Cedar Point. The airtime is not as strong as other RMCs, but there is so much of it as it's a very long ride with a mix of inversions and floater to mild ejector airtime. Unfortunately, it always has a stupid long line and it breaks down all the time. Number 5 is Iron Gwazi, the RMC hybrid at Busch Gardens Tampa. This is a far more powerful ride with very strong airtime, intensity, speed, and great variety. It might truly be the perfect coaster. Number 4 is X2, the Aero 4D wing coaster at Six Flags Magic Mountain. One of the most intense and craziest coaster experiences on this side of the planet. It has some unique airtime, and the controlled flipping will have you on your back, on your belly, facing forwards or backwards, on the left or right side of the track. This is one that I will never believe actually exists, and I'm now thinking that I maybe should bump this up a spot or two. Number 3 is Twisted Timbers, the RMC hybrid at King's Dominion. Probably the strongest airtime of any coaster I've ridden. It is so relentless with rapid-fire transitions, giving you no time to breathe. The airtime is so violent and aggressive, as it's a long ride with no mid-course, which might make it too much for some people. And my weekday visits have never seen this get much of a line, so I can ride it as much as my lap can handle. Number 2 is Airy Force 1, the RMC at Fun Spot Atlanta, maybe the most perfect coaster ever. The speed, smoothness, insane ejector airtime, the perfect floater from the best zero-G stall in the country, the variety, the use of the arcade building, the rapid-fire elements, the violent quad down at the end. And this rarely gets a line, even on weekends. And my number one favorite coaster of all is still Iron Rattler, the RMC hybrid at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. This ride is why I'm here doing this. It made me a coaster enthusiast 9 years ago. By far, this has had the biggest impact on me, and I always have so much fun with it. And I feel that those two things should be how we all decide what our favorite coaster is. This has my favorite first drop, my favorite trains and restraints, incredible airtime throughout, one of my favorite inversions, a great and unique section on top of the quarry wall, and an awesome drop off the wall and into the wall to end the ride. I have had great experiences with ERT sessions and riding this with friends and family. It may not be the objective best coaster in the country, but it is one of the best, and my personal experience elevates it to my top spot, where it will likely always remain. So that's it for my list. Here is one final chart for my fellow numbers nerds to show the parks that are represented in my top 50 and top 100. Let me know in the comments what some of your favorite coasters are, as we all have our own unique experiences, and those are always a lot of fun to share with each other. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.